Johnny, can you begin with an opening statement about entering conference play and the importance of getting a good start?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've mentioned it before. Out of the 24 soccer conferences in Division One, I feel that the Big East is top 3 in the country. So we know that we have our work cut out for us once we start conference play. So Marquette's flying high right now. They're undefeated. I believe they're nationally ranked. They're just coming off a big win against 21st ranked Wisconsin. And so we know that it's going to be an uphill battle for us on Friday, but nonetheless, excited for it to be at home. I know there's a lot going on around campus, being that it's Creighton Days, alumni weekend, and so we're excited for the atmosphere that will be at Morrison Stadium for Friday night for both our women's program and our men's program.
Open the floor to questions.
What's the tenor of the team at this point in time right now, given that they couldn't kind of sustain the momentum they had coming from Denver and Michigan going to league play?
Yeah, and I'm glad you touched on that momentum, because that was something that was part of our initiative yesterday, was to bring the momentum that we built up at Denver and against Michigan into UMKC. And I thought the guys did that. The guys were working really hard yesterday. I felt we dominated the first half. I felt like things were starting to click when we scored that first goal. And I'm not one to talk much about referees, but what I'll tell you, that the decision that they made and a couple others was a complete disgrace. And I felt like our guys were cheated. And that kind of turned the game on its head. Obviously UMKC did their part in regards to getting back into the game and tying the match up. But I argue that had the referees not made some of the decisions that they made during that match goes our way, and it's a complete disgrace.
Is there what part of that element is controllable to the point where it doesn't affect you? I guess, like how much power do you have over?
One of the biggest things that we talk about at men's soccer at Creighton is control the controllables, and we definitely focused more on the things that we can't control, which the referee being one of them. And so I take full responsibility because I'm always asking our players to make sure that we focus on the things we can control. And quite frankly, I was involved too much with the referee last night, and so I was not doing my part to control the controllables, right? I can't control the center ref. I can't control the ARs. And I was spending way too much time and energy with them last night. But I was trying to defend our players because our players got cheated last night.
Just overall for non-conference, obviously, record not what you wanted, but when you made that schedule, part of that's also preparing for Big East play. Do you feel that there are certain points that you have successfully developed this team going into Big East play on certain factions with that schedule? I guess, what did you learn? What do you still want to see from this team?
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's the intent when we're scheduling, when we're looking ahead. And even though there was a loss at Stanford and a tie at UC Irvine that felt like a loss, I thought a positive tie at Denver, which is a very hard place to play. There were 3 matches that helped us grow, even though at the end of the day, they're not the results that we wanted. And those growing pains will help us in conference play. Would I like us to be a little further along at this point? Of course. But there are some learning moments that we'll take with us into conference play starting on Friday. I'm sorry, I didn't catch the first part of your question. Oh, yeah, Andrija. Yeah, no problem. No problem.
With him being, dangerous in the box for you guys of these last 2 matches, like being opportunistic and putting chances away, normally from a defensive-oriented position, right? Like, how much of a added punch does that give to a team that's kind of still trying to find, its top form offensively?
Yeah, Andrija has a big boy, and fortunately for us, he's a threat on offensive set pieces because he's 6'4", 6'5", and he finds the ball well. But he's also done a great job defensively, in my opinion, as a freshman, as a true freshman. moves quite well for a big boy, and he's a kid that has come in and assimilated well, and he's taken to heart what we're asking of him. And so it's a good problem to have when you have Andrija at the left center back and Ventura, who is, battling to come back from injury. It's a good problem to have to figure out who's going to play.
What kind of process is it for you guys? Having done what you did last year, different team I know, but for other teams that play you, this is a circle on the calendar day where maybe in years past it was not. Is that a tough deal to get adjusted to for your kids?
Yeah, no, it definitely is. And I always go back to the standards that we have at Creighton men's soccer. We understand that we're going to have a target on our back. We understand that our opponents are going to circle the match against us, and we have to deal with that pressure. I think with those standards come a lot of responsibility, and we have to know that every time we take step into the field.
Does that motivate this team, given last year, obviously a new squad this year, like you mentioned, but does that serve as motivation?
Oh, absolutely, especially the returners that got a little bit of a taste of that last year. It absolutely serves as motivation. Shoot, I still remember our first one in '96. That still, for me, is motivation. And so it goes hand in hand, but, we welcome that challenge.
What have you seen out of Marquette so far this year that's flipped the script for them? I'm sure that holistically they were disappointed with the season they had last year, but they finished strong, and it seems like they've carried that over. Like, what have you seen out of them that's made them so good?
Yeah, no, they've had a lot of joy on the ball going forward. They've played all their matches at home, so they've enjoyed being at home and not having to travel. But they've come out and they've put together some very good results. And like I said, the most recent one against 21st ranked Wisconsin. And so I know that they'll come in here wanting to play. They've always been coached that way, and I think it'll make for a good match.